Το έργο αυτό βρίσκεται στα Μάταλα, στην Νότια Κρήτη, όπου είναι και το μέρος καταγωγή μου. Είμαι πολιτικός μηχανικός. Η οικογένειά μου πάνω από τα 50 χρόνια είναι στον τουρισμό, έχοντας φτιάξει το πρώτο ξενοδοχείο στα Μάταλα. Το γραφείο μας βρίσκεται ακριβώς δίπλα στο Αντάμα, είναι πολύ κοντά και στην παραλία. Σχεδιάσαμε ένα έργο μαζί με την ομάδα από το γραφείο, το οποίο αποτελείται από 8 κτίρια. Είναι όλα σουίτες, στο ισόγειο με πισίνα, από πάνω με μια κοινόχρηστη πισίνα. Τα 8 κτίρια βρίσκονται 4 από τη μία πλευρά, 4 από την άλλη. Στο κέντρο έχουμε την κεντρική πλατεία, η οποία με ένα μοσαϊκό, όπως φαίνεται εδώ πέρα, με κύματα, πηγαίνει από τη μία άκρη του οικοπαίδου στην άλλη. Χρησιμοποιήσαμε όσο γίνεται γήινα υλικά και, πώς θα δούμε εδώ πέρα, κουρασανίτ στους τοίχους, με μία αντίθεση κεραμιδί σε κάποιες εσοχές που έχουμε στον κάθε όγκο. Οι μπέρκολες είναι με ξύλο και σκηνή. Εδώ θα δούμε την κεντρική είσοδο του έργου, όπου έχουμε χρησιμοποιήσει κάποια παλιά αντικείμενα λίθινα που βρήκαμε εδώ πέρα και διάφορα κλωστρά. Τα κεντρικά υλικά που χρησιμοποιηθήκαν είναι η ξερολιθιά, είναι το κουρασανίτ και αυτά εδώ τα κλωστρά που βλέπουμε. Θα δούμε την κεντρική πλατεία εδώ πέρα, που τρέχουν σαν κύματα τα μοσαϊκά της, και οι πισίνες. Εδώ είναι η ιδιωτική πισίνα, τα οποία έχουν η κάθε σουίτα. Εσωτερικά όλα τα υλικά είναι από φυσικά ξύλα και διάφορα όμορφα λινά. Αυτή ήταν η παρουσία. Όπως είπε και ο κύριος Μαρτίνος, το Adama βρίσκεται σε μια γενική ομπρέλα και σε μια γενική ιδέα που είναι το Zalo Space που έχει σχεδιάσει ο κύριος Λεωνίδας μαζί με την ομάδα του, και είναι ένα από τα καταλύματα που είναι μέσα σε αυτό το branding. Αν θα θέλει να μας πει κάτι ο Λεωνίδας.
Μιλάω. Στα ελληνικά τελικά,
Εγώ το λέω στα ελληνικά γιατί μου είναι πιο εύκολο.
It's okay. Ωραία. Να πέσει η παρουσίαση. Ευχαριστούμε καταρχάς για την πρόσκληση. Χαιρόμαστε πολύ που είμαστε εδώ. Και είναι η πρώτη φορά που συναντιόμαστε όλη η ομάδα του Zalo Spaces και του Adama από κοντά. Ωραία. Θα το πάω λίγο γρήγορα. Μια πολύ μικρή εισαγωγή για το γραφείο μας. Δημιουργηθήκαμε το 2013 και είμαστε μια ομάδα από σχεδιαστές πολλών ειδικοτήτων, υπηρεσίες και εφαρμογές σε όλο το φάσμα του design και του branding. Εντάξει, πάμε παρακάτω. Το πρώτο πράγμα που κάναμε ήταν να δώσουμε όνομα σε αυτό το εγχείρημα. Εδώ βλέπουμε πού τοποθετείται αυτό το εγχείρημα στο χάρτη. Οι 3 πυλώνες έμπνευσης ήταν ο τόπος, ο χρόνος και η κοινότητα. Τα 3 πράγματα τα οποία μας ενέπνευσαν πάρα πολύ. Ο τόπος που είναι πάρα πολύ, με αυτήν την πολύ έντονη γεωλογική μορφή, η οποία ήταν μέρος κατοίκησης από τον άνθρωπο από τα αρχαία χρόνια μέχρι και πρόσφατα. Τα artifacts της τέχνης και του πολιτισμού κατά το διάστημα των χρόνων που μας είχαν δώσει και αυτά έμπνευση, και αυτό το ίδιο των Κρητών που ενώ έχουν τους δικούς τους τρόπους και τις δικές τους συνήθειες και τελετουργίες, παρόλα αυτά είναι πάρα πολύ φιλόξενοι και ανοιχτοί στο να φέρουν ανθρώπους από άλλες κουλτούρες μέσα. Εδώ το ζάλο εμπνεύστηκε από την κριτική λέξη ζάλο, που είναι το βήμα, το οποίο είναι, όπως ο πεντοζάλης, χαρακτηριστικό στους τοπικούς χορούς. Οπότε, εμπνευσμένοι από αυτό, ονομάσαμε όλη αυτή την οικογένεια από καταλύματα ζάλο και το μότο μας ήταν το «Step into Cretan Living», εννοώντας ότι με αυτόν τον τρόπο μπορείς να μπεις μέσα στην κουλτούρα του νησιού. Εδώ βλέπουμε ένα overview της ονοματολογίας που έγινε για το Ζάλο και εκτός από το Adama που θα δούμε περισσότερα σε λίγο, υπήρχαν και τα άλλα υποψήφια μελλοντικά καταλύματα προς ανάπτυξη με διαφορετικές κλίμακες, διαφορετικές στοχεύσεις και πάντα όμως τα βασικά μας συστατικά ήταν το τοπικό ιδίωμα, τα ονόματα, τα βουνά, πράγματα τα οποία ανήκουν στη κρητική κουλτούρα. Τα κάνουν δηλαδή λίγο ιδιαίτερα, αλλά και που σε καλούν να τα ανακαλύψεις. Όσον αφορά την ταυτότητα, εκτός από τον τρόπο με τον οποίο τα διάφορα τυπογραφικά στοιχεία αρχίζουν και χορεύουν, εδώ βλέπουμε και σαν ένα mood board από εικόνες του τόπου και της ιστορίας της περιοχής. Εδώ, πιο παιγνιωδώς, αρχίσαμε και ψάχναμε λίγο τους βηματισμούς μας, προσπαθώντας να κάνουμε ένα σύμβολο το οποίο να συμπυκνώνει όλα αυτά τα οποία είναι το Ζάλο. Οπότε καταλήξαμε με ένα ζήτα που είναι και λίγο σαν χορογραφία, ταυτόχρονα με το λόγο το οποίο είναι ένα ευμετάβλητο λογότυπο και φέραμε και την ιδέα μιας πιο curated φωτογράφησης αναφορικά με το πώς θα μπορούσαν φωτογράφοι είτε ντόπιοι είτε από άλλες περιοχές να έρθουν και να πιάσουν κάτι πέραν από την εικόνα του υπνοδωματίου ή του συγκροτήματος. Να πιάσουν τη μυρωδιά, την υφή, τη γεύση και τα χρώματα της Νότιας Κρήτης. Οπότε, παράλληλα, μπήκανε και όλα αυτά τα θράβασματα της ιστορίας, τα οποία κάπως απομονωμένα λένε και τη δική τους ιστορία το καθένα από αυτά. Και εδώ σαν mood boards, ας πούμε, πάλι layouts τα οποία θα μας ήταν χρήσιμα στη συνέχεια, τα οποία έχουν μια ελευθερία και αρχίζουν και συνδυάζουν τον τόπο, τον χρόνο και τους ανθρώπους. Εδώ είναι το μελλοντικό λάβαρο αυτής της επικράτειας. Ωραία. Μετά αυτό που προχώρησε και έγινε αντικείμενο ιδιαίτερων εφαρμογών, αυτό στο website κανείς μπορεί να το δει στην πλήρη του ανάπτυξη με έναν τρόπο. Χώρια του να είναι εκεί φυσικά. Και θα κλείσω με το σύστημα σήμανσης που αναπτύξαμε στο Adama, που ήταν το πρώτο από τα boutique hotel του Zalo Spaces, το οποίο αναπτύχθηκε γύρω από αυτή την κεντρική οδό, σαν ονομασίες οδών, street signing, ας πούμε, τα οποία είχαμε τη χαρά να τα φτιάξουμε με ένα χειροποίητο τρόπο. Τα ανάγλυφα αυτά είναι από παλιά νομίσματα του μινωικού πολιτισμού. Γίνανε στο χέρι με καλούπια από γύψο και αυτά βρήκαν τη θέση τους στην τοιχοποιία του Ζάλο. Ευχαριστούμε πολύ.
Our next speaker is Carola, interior designer. So after those brand guidelines, she had to prototype some ideas into this first.
I hope.
Hold on.
Is it
So you got
working?
yes, it's
Yes,
working.
okay,
We got
very
the
good.
clicker, so
All right.
you take the stage.
Very good. So good afternoon, everybody. I will step right into our design philosophy. My name is Carola, founder of Hidden Gem. Maybe a short introduction because that is explaining maybe a little bit better our different approach to interior design. I've worked as a creative director for fashion and interior design magazines, and the approach is a little bit the same to interior design. We always begin our projects with understanding how people want to feel in a space. So it's a more holistic, emotional approach, and where we take the architecture as our narrative and the landscape or landscaping as continuity. Also the land, the culture, the history, the smell, everything is taking into account when we are thinking interior design. And human emotion and experience is always at our center. So when it comes to the essence of Adama, we had a sanctuary character in mind, and we wanted to design a place of effortless elegance and a place shaped by intimacy and authenticity. So how that? That's by creating a quiet luxury concept, which is at the core of our design language for Adama. Natural and tactile materials, soft layered textures, and a smooth, muted, nature-driven color palette, and an understated refinement. We always like to say it's all in the details. So here's shown in a few pictures, together with our color palette for Adama. And that brings us straight on to our guest journey, where we wanted to shape an emotional flow when the people arrive, the communal areas, the villas, the rooms, and also, again, the landscape transitions. So the idea was to bring in the landscaping, a very curated choice of trees and plants and smell. So every experience is intentionally curated. So the overall creative vision for Adama was to create a soulful destination, a place of sense and belonging, and with an emotional depth, resonance, harmony of simplicity and elegance, a place to deeply breathe in and exhale. Some blending into a few pictures that are maybe better explaining our design philosophy. And last but not least, I would like to extend a huge thank you for having me, Michalis. And I'm honored to be part of the continuity of Adama together with your team and all of our collaborators on the island and around. Without them, such projects are never possible. So thank you for listening in, and have a nice remaining afternoon and evening. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Carola. I will switch to Greek again, but I think our discussion will have to be in English later, so that nobody's left out. Λοιπόν, να περάσουμε στον Γιώργο Αναγνωστάκη της Sci-Fi Lighting. Είναι μελετητής φωτισμού, αλλά με μεγάλη εμπειρία σε αρχιτεκτονικά έργα, ώστε να μας δώσει αυτόν τον πολύ ιδιαίτερο χαρακτήρα.
Καλησπέρα και από μένα. I promised Carola I will do it in English, but since Stavros said we'll do it in Greek, I can do that and we can do our discussion in English. But okay, so since I want to keep my promise to Carola, she would understand a bit of what we're saying and she doesn't feel excluded. So you have to bear a bit with my bad English. So I am George Anagnostakis. I'm the creative director of Sci-Fi Lighting. And this is a really unique project for us. And it doesn't have to do with its size or with its difficulties, because it's what I always say, this was one of like these easy projects, because what we're trying always to do is to bring passion and to bring sense into the space. And sometimes we need to push for that. But for us, this one was a really, let's say, personal project. Because it was a personal project for Michalis. Not in the sense of its architecture, but mostly in the sense that he wanted to transfuse this space with Cretan hospitality and with a feeling of being there and all these ideas that Cretan hospitality can convey. So in terms of lighting, so probably the pictures aren't there, we have an issue, but no worries. But in terms of lighting, you've already seen some pictures. What we did is we tried to convey this idea of a village. I want to give you a small inside information. Before naming Adama and Zalo, this was called Tzagkarakis as an internal name. And I think that bears a significance. Sorry about bringing that out, Michalis, but this bears for us a big significance, because this small word, which for Carola means like a small street in a village, was, let's say, this one cornerstone of the whole idea. So we went for a lighting that doesn't have a grand concept. I always like to explain my concept in one word, in one sentence, but I stayed with Tzagkarakis this time. So what we wanted to do with the lighting here, and that's the most important thing, is to create this feeling that you are walking around a small street within a Cretan village. We didn't do that by going into folklore lighting. We wanted to do it with modern lighting techniques. So what you will see here is this adaptation. So for example, we have this really technical and sharp lighting on the small windows, but we don't use them in the sense of lighting up the facade. We're using it in the sense that you're walking somewhere where there are people staying, and lighting is the indicator that someone is staying inside that space. So this light is what I see. And apart from that, we went for what I would call some straightforward lighting. So you have like sconces, or you have lighting up all these small artifacts that Carola has scattered around. So it's this idea where lighting is this base form where my eye follows light in the sense of what I want to read, what I want to feel about the space. So for me, that's the most important thing in the design we did for Zalo, this idea of going back into a more basic but not minimalistic approach where you really feel that even though it's a modern lighting, it is as if it was always there. So that's what we wanted to do. For the interior, and I'm going to finish with that, so I don't take much of your time, so we can have some time for discussion. I think we went along with what Carola did, and I really mean it. Like, we didn't want to have a lot of exposed lighting fixtures, so we meticulously went into each space, saw what the needs of Carola were, if it was like one hanging light on one table light, and then we just added the absolute basic extra lighting that we need for functionality. Again, going back into this idea that you don't need much to spend some time. You don't need much to feel something. You just need what's there to be really thoughtful. And I'm going to finish with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, too. Congratulations, everyone, for your contributions into this project. Now let's start to break down the image a little bit. In my understanding, this is the prototype hotel in a larger, ecosystem of intimate, but with a lot of character, hospitality units with a lot of character. This is one initial open question to everyone. We started from this branding strategy that resulted in a visual identity or more of a brand manual to follow?
Thanks. I mean, this is an evolving project. So we took some of the ideas that Michałis had shared with us in the beginning, and we thought of laying out a quite open system that could adapt in the future, because when brands don't work is when they constrain you from doing things. And I think that so far Michałis has been able to walk with it without being, having to stay within some very specific guidelines.
If I may, sorry, because I think it's important to give the aspect from the designer side, and I think that's really important. I think what you did was mostly a deconstruction, because Michałis had an idea that was architectural, it was space. But what we all wanted, and what Zalo as a project wanted, was a breakdown, a narrative. So I think it's one of these cases where we didn't get an identity that was based in materiality or in design. It was a narrative. So I think that that gave us two things. One, left us a lot of space for interpretation, but we could always, look back to this narrative. But at the same time, and I think that goes for the future project, I think the idea can accommodate different type of projects, different typologies, different materiality, because I think it answers to this sense of space.
Thank you. So the brand so far is structural and not about the look and feel, because you may classify. We've seen this a lot during these last 3 days, that some brands are really restrictive on the look and feel of the hospitality units. That you need to have this height of bed, that color, etc., etc. And some others are more discrete and structural. They remain concealed in operation, mechanical equipment, performance. So where is this one heading?
The ecosystem that we have several plots in the area of Matala and in the surrounding area over there. We would like to have some suites. The most of them are small hotels like this. Here we will have 17 suites at the end of the day. And the others are one villa and some small apartments. All of them, they will have the same philosophy. But for example, for the materials, for the furniture and for everything, everyone will have something different. We don't follow exactly restricted rules that the beds will be this, this, and this. All the projects are completely different than each other, but with the same philosophy. We will use natural materials everywhere, in all of them, and for the garden, and we try most of the time to feel and to understand and to be integrated in the nature where we have. So this is the reason why all the projects are completely open to play and do whatever the landscape fits.
Sure. Thank you. Okay, Carola, was this your first project in Greece?
Yes, as a hospitality project, yes. Otherwise, private residential villas is my daily business, more or less. And here, as you just explained, it was not something that was set and put. It was like a teamwork where we developed what we wanted the people to feel. We wanted to create something where they feel home and where they can really, really slow down, and a place of privacy, intimacy, but at the same time, we wanted them also to feel connected to others, like create community areas and make it a place where you can really take something back more, like an experience that lingers on when you're back home. So it's not just that you stay somewhere. All what we wanted to create it is to breathe deeply in and out, and not with specific furniture or look and feel. It is more really by discussing, so where do we go, how do we take it, when we develop the whole project now, always with this line in head: inhale, exhale, breathe, have peace of mind.
So it's more or less about rhythm, slowing down.
Yes.
Crete, okay, it's a pretty self-sufficient island in terms of the construction industry. They're very skilled. There's a very skilled workforce that can undertake pretty much any construction detail, any construction challenge. How did this work? My question is, how did you locate artisans to develop your ideas? Because Crete has a lot to offer, but Matala is a little bit still, up to this day, a little bit off the beaten track. Most of the large developments are in the north of the island or the east of the island, but Matala was this former hippie retreat, the caves, still untouched. And now you're developing, is this the first luxury hospitality project in the area?
In this quality and this type, I can say yes, this is the only one in Matala. The biggest hotel that we have in Matala is with 100 rooms. Most of the hotels, they have 50, 60, 70, so it's small and family hotels.
Yes.
From luxury and this kind of tourism, this is, I can say it's the unique one. It's the only one that we have in the area.
What were the challenges in terms of workforce?
Why not?
Artisans. No, where did you locate them? Are they based in the area or just Crete?
No, we try to work with local artisans. Local means around the island.
Yes.
But we are also stretching out to other islands for specific pieces and working closely also with manufacturers from abroad. But they already have a long relationship with the island of Crete. So it's always connected to the island. And this is very important to us.
Yes. Well, how about something as specific as lighting? Because there is construction, but then lighting is not just about the ambience and the idea and the atmosphere, it's about equipment. How did you work with that, with the Cretan market? I'm talking about the people who made the installations. How skilled were they?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's always not an one, let's say, one-way solution. So the idea is always to try and break down different categories, different types, and different needs. So for architectural lighting, for example, we went with things that we imported because we wanted to have maintenance-free lighting scheme, lighting fixtures. As a company, we stretch from concept to finish. So that means that even on let's say, remote, Crete is not so remote, but remote in terms of our headquarters in Athens, islands, we have a cooperation with Michalης in this case, where we oversee everything. So like all the whole installation and everything were done under our supervision. And then we separated, and let's say, the more decorative lighting came from, of course, Carola's mind and ideas with our help in terms of the technicality. But there we had the opportunity to expand because they are easier to maintain. They are not exposed to the elements because they're mostly indoor. So there we made, let's say, more compromise in terms of technicality, but gaining a lot in feeling, lighting quality, and craftsmanship, which I think is really important. And on, let's say, on a juxtaposition, the technical lighting had to be really technical so as not to be seen. So if you walk around, you would never see an exposed lighting fixture, or even though everything is stainless steel, you won't see a stainless steel ring somewhere around there, because that was like the most important thing, to create a scheme that technically is up to date and future-proof, but at the same time, as I said, feels timeless.
Very good. Leonida, and perhaps everyone else, what are the next steps after this first initial experience? And we can talk about operations later, because there's also, the design aspect and then the actual lived experience of guests and operators too. Based on your experience from this first hotel into consolidating some ideas and finding your own guidelines for how you want to work, what were the lessons learned from this experience, and how do they inform your next steps in this broader ecosystem?
We do it, this hotel that we build right now, from the 8 units that we have built it almost the half. Right now we start building a common pool, and we start building also one small restaurant. Part by part that we are doing, we have always cooperation with Carola and as well with Leonidas. With Leonidas, we built the total ecosystem and the branding of the whole project from Adama, but in all the parts that we are building and all the rest of the units that we will do it in other projects, always we are in contact with Leonidas, and we upgrade until we have the final and the result that we're going to have it.
Any first operational challenges from this one? How did the operations go? This first realized part. What worked well? What will you reconsider?
For the moment, I can say that everything went well.
Smooth. Okay, very good. It happens.
This is why, yes. We didn't have some big problems,
Challenges.
issues, and everything went well.
Okay, very nice. We still have a few minutes. Do we have any questions from the audience, from guests, friends of the team, guardians of this idea? Because I think it's very important that now that you're starting something anew, that you keep your team together, because this will give constant feedback.
It's
Yes.
great. We just go out and drink.
Huh?
So it's easy to keep the team connected, I have to be honest. So that's the easy part. Like whenever everything happens, we go out, drink, and then everything works. Huh?
Goes well.
Anyway, in this intimate, small, there is never a small project, okay? But in terms of size, okay, footage, it's intimate, it's tiny. How do you deal with issues of sustainability? How do you train your guests, even not just in the Cretan way of life and the Cretan rhythm, pace of living, but also into their responsible behavior towards the environment and the local community? Any sustainability considerations and how you train them? This is from both operation and everyday management
Well,
point of view.
I think that the travelers of today are already themselves sustainable thinkers. So it's been actually easy. So what we offer is, when it comes to water, it's glass bottles, it's not plastic. So we try to not use too many things that are automatically used, and also the furniture and the materials we use are from sustainable sources, most of them, to be honest, not all of them, yes, but that is a focus, but otherwise it's difficult in our area still. That is something we need to acknowledge. That is not, it's an island issue, to be honest. So I think maybe we should discuss this with the Cretan government.
But in any case, I think like sustainability was rooted into the project. And you can even feel it now. You would feel awkward bringing a plastic bottle into Adama or coming from the supermarket with your plastic bags. Really, I really mean it. And I think that goes a little bit beyond the strategy. I could take up your time and talk about the lighting strategy, the lighting controls, or the low consumption and maintainability, but these are things that we worked in the background. And I think that since this is a capable team, we've put them down from the beginning. Or, for example, as lighting designers, we work a lot to diminish lighting pollution. You get a feeling that you would see the Tzagkarakis in the center is barely lit.
Yes.
And we want it to be barely lit. So it's just enough to walk around, but you don't have, for example, any lighting pollution. But at the same time, I think that what Adama does best is that it translates the feeling of going back to a more basic way of living, to a more and thus sustainable.
More sustainable.
So it's not a high-tech sustainability, which sometimes it's difficult to implement and wants a lot of actions and wants the government to come in and players and you want to recycle and you can. This, I think, in my opinion, hits to the root. You are like having less lighting, you're having less diminished water needs, so you spend less, you buy less, and that hits to the root. So it's not like a complex sustainability
Mechanical
strategy.
operation, but more disposition towards the space itself guides you into acting more responsibly in so many ways. Thank you very much. I think we're complete here. Thank you, and good luck with the rest of your endeavors. We're really looking forward to seeing how they will come to life. Thank you for being here.
Having us.
Welcome.